The cell was cold. Not the cold of deep space, not the bitter freeze of a gas giant's upper atmosphere. This was deliberate cold, engineered cold, the kind meant to remind a prisoner that every comfort was a gift from their captor. General Marcus didn't shiver. He sat cross-legged on the metallite floor of the Varec Dominion flagship, his wrists bound in phase-locked cuffs, his eyes closed, his breathing slow and even. Around him, through the translucent cell walls, the alien crew moved in their rhythmic patrols. Tall, gray-skinned, four-armed creatures with compound eyes that reflected every light source in prismatic rings. The Varec, named after the fleet commander who had unified their seven-star empire, had never taken a human prisoner of Marcus's rank before. They were very proud of themselves. Fleet Commander Varec stood outside the cell, observing. His translator chip pulsed at his temple, converting the soft sounds of the humans breathing into data. He studied Marcus the way a collector studies a rare specimen, with clinical hunger. "He does not beg," said Varec's tactical officer, Hai, stepping alongside him. Hai's compound eyes blinked in unsettled patterns. "The others we captured, the lower-ranked soldiers," they demanded. Protested. Threatened. This one simply waits. "He is calculating," said Varec. A rare thing, respect embedded in a Varec commander's voice. "He is the architect of the Kepler Corridor defense. The designer of the siege at Proxima Station. 17 fleet engagements. 17 human victories." He paused. "We did not capture a general. We captured an idea. Shall we interrogate?" "Not yet." Varec clasped two of his four hands behind his back. "Let him wait. Let him feel small." In her operations room aboard the UES Relentless, Admiral Joe received the transmission at 0300 hours. It was terse. It was encoded. It was, unmistakably, a trap. "General Marcus has been taken. Location, Varec Dominion flagship, Sector 7 Kappa. Alive. Terms for negotiation will follow." Joe read it twice. Then she set it down and called her senior officers. Commander Many arrived first, bleary-eyed, his coffee untouched. Lieutenant Day came second, already fully dressed, as though she had never slept. Communications Chief was slid in last, tablet in hand, fingers already working. "They want us to come to them," Many said, reading the transmission. "Classic. They grab the biggest trophy they can find and wait for us to stumble into their guns trying to get him back." "Marcus would have seen this coming," Day said quietly. "He did." Will looked up from her tablet. Her face was composed, but her eyes were something else entirely. "I've been running the transmission signature. This wasn't broadcast. It was targeted, sent specifically to our fleet, our frequency, encoded in a cipher we've used for 3 months." She let the silence breathe. "Marcus sent it himself." The room went quiet. Joe leaned forward. "From inside their flagship." From inside their flagship, was confirmed. "He also embedded a secondary packet. I've been decoding it." She turned her tablet around. "It's a full schematic of the Varec flagship's internal grid. Deck layouts. Shield emitter positions. Life support junctions." She exhaled. "He's been mapping their ship since the moment they took him." Many let out a single, disbelieving laugh. "He surrendered on purpose," as Day said, "and it wasn't a question." Joe stood up. She didn't smile, this wasn't the moment for smiling. She straightened her uniform, touched the edge of the transmission data, and looked at each of them in turn. "All fleets," she said. "Alter course." In the cell, Marcus opened his eyes. He had counted the patrol cycles, 40 minutes, precise as clockwork. He had mapped the vibration frequencies in the floor to estimate the ship's engine output. He had noted the subtle pressure differentials that told him where the life support processors were located. He had even catalogued the emotional tells of the guards, the way High, the tactical officer, always paused 3 seconds longer at the northeast corridor junction. High was nervous. Nervous officers make mistakes. The cell door slid open. Varric entered alone, which was either confidence or arrogance. Marcus had decided it was both. "You have not tried to escape," Varric said. "Where would I go?" Marcus replied. His voice was level, conversational, as though they were two colleagues sharing a meal. Varric crouched to Marcus's eye level, a gesture, Marcus understood, meant to seem less threatening. "You are intelligent enough to know your position is hopeless. Your fleets cannot reach this sector without entering our kill zone. If they come for you, we destroy them. If they do not come, you remain here." The compound eyes caught the light. "You have already lost." Marcus looked at him for a long moment. "You know what the problem with commanders who have never fought humans before is," he said. Varric said nothing. "You think we calculate the same way you do." Marcus tilted his head slightly. "You look at a situation and you ask, what is the logical response? And you assume we ask the same question." He paused. "We don't." An alarm began to sound, low, then urgent, then screaming. Varric spun. Through the cell wall, the flagship's corridor lights shifted from white to emergency red. A voice crackled over the ship's intercom, rapid, panicked clicks in the Varric dialect that Marcus's rudimentary knowledge translated as hull breach in starboard junction and multiple points. "Your fleets," Varric began, "aren't attacking your hull," Marcus said calmly. "They're attacking your shield emitters. Specifically, the 3 that cover your engine compartments. Specifically, at the exact coordinates I mapped and transmitted 16 hours ago." He watched Varric's face change, that prismatic flicker in compound eyes that meant shock. "You assumed I was calculating how to escape. I was calculating how to make this ship the trap." Varric took one step toward him, and the ceiling above them cracked open. Not explosively. Precisely. A 2-meter cut, clean as a surgeon's incision, and through it dropped Commander Many in a hard suit, followed by Lieutenant Day, followed by 2 extraction specialists whose names Marcus didn't know but whose professionalism he immediately respected. "Morning, sir," said Many. "You're 40 seconds ahead of schedule," Marcus said, standing. "Good." Day had the phase lock cutters out before he finished the sentence. The cuffs fell. Marcus rolled his wrists once, twice, and accepted the sidearm Many offered. He looked at Varric one last time. The fleet commander of the 7-star Empire stood in the red emergency light, 4 hands at his sides, compound eyes unreadable. "The logical response," Marcus said quietly, "was never to come for me. The human response was to come for me and bring the fight to your doorstep while doing it." He holstered the sidearm. "You captured Earth's greatest general. Did you really think we were going to let that stand?" He turned and followed his people up through the breach. 3 hours later, aboard the UES Relentless, Admiral Joe stood beside Marcus on the observation deck as the Varric flagship listed in the dark, its engines cold, its shields gone, surrounded by the quiet, patient geometry of 17 human warships. "You could have not surrendered," she said. "I could have," Marcus agreed. "You could have trusted us to come up with a plan." He glanced at her sideways. "I did trust you. I trusted you to execute the plan I sent." Joe was quiet for a moment. "Then, you're insufferable, Marcus." "Yes," he said. "But I'm here." In the dark beyond the viewport, the human fleets held their formation, patient, watchful, unmovable. Not because they had been ordered to. Because that was simply what humans did. They came back for their own. Every single time.